as I mentioned, we're going to be going over the host feature in today's session. And the best way I like to show this feature is to show how meetings can be booked as like a guest. And then I can show you how to set up the host feature and all of that stuff. But I like to show you basically the results of what you do first. So it's easy for you to kind of understand how your guest or your client or whoever you're meeting with, or maybe your boss is meeting with, what that looks like for an experience for them. So simply, let's say you have a meeting. In this case, you'll see that this is a Doodle final interview. And again, the perception that you're seeing here is going to be the guest that is booking the meeting with you. So this is, in this case, what we're gonna do, it's an interview. You can see this is a Doodle final interview. So the candidate, this is their view. They're seeing it's a final interview. They're seeing that this is a meeting with Lauren Blood and Ryan Demo. And then, it's 1 hour long. There's a summary here. You will meet with our executive team during this final session. And here are the options for them to choose from. They can go into the night and pick a date. So this is in New York time here. So let's say we're going to say 2 p.m. August 9th. The time is, let's say it's going to be Terry candidate. Terry needs to provide their email. And then Terry also has another question here. Best phone number to reach you in case of technical issues. And I will just put a little fake number in there for Terry. And then I will hit book it. Now that is how easy it is for Terry to book this final interview. Now let's see what that looks like from Terry's perspective and myself, Ryan, who organized and created this booking page using the host feature. Now, once you have a candidate, in this case, book a meeting with you, you will be getting these notifications. A new time has been booked. Let you know someone booked a meeting with you on August 9th at 1 p.m. Chicago time. I'm located in Chicago, so that translated differently. If you can remember, Terry saw 12 because Terry is an hour ahead in New York. Ryan is seeing 1. I'm going to go to my calendar on August 9th really quickly. And you'll see on August 9th, there's a final interview on my calendar already. Myself, my coworker, Lauren Blood, and Terry are all invited to this meeting. There's like a unique Google Meet link. And then we even have Terry's response to their, Terry's response to their question. Sorry about that. Down at the bottom with that phone number. Now, I'm going to show you today how you can set this up. I will also show the book on behalf situation. So in this case, maybe I am the organizer, the Doodle account holder, but also maybe I need to just create these types of meetings for Lauren, my coworker, for Lauren to meet with other individuals. So let's dive into Doodle to show you guys how you can accomplish this using our host feature. Now, this is my Doodle account here. This is going to be my home page, my landing page, my dashboard, we call it here at Doodle, where you're going to have all of your booking pages, your booked meetings, your group polls, and all of that as you scroll down on this left side. Now, the first thing I want to make sure you guys do, if you have used Doodle before, fabulous, great. I want to review a couple account settings that you need to make sure that you have set up in order to create this booking page, whether you're our co-host or whether you are booking on behalf of another individual. I'm going to go into my account settings. I'll go over these pretty quickly because we have other sessions that highlight these in more depth. But I do want to make sure that you guys get a little overview of this. But simply, you'll want to make sure you go into your profile section. I did this pretty quickly, but this lives within the account settings. And simply make sure your time zone all the way at the bottom is accurate. As I showed you, the candidate, in this case, Terry, was located in New York. I'm located in Chicago. Terry saw different times because Doodle was doing the math for Terry and saying, oh, Ryan chose this time, Chicago time. We're going to convert that to New York time. So just make sure that your default time zone is accurate and just know that Doodle does the rest. Your guests, your clients, your candidates, whoever you are meeting with, do not need Doodle accounts for their time zone to be read accurately. Doodle just simply reads the browser that your guests are using and adapts to the time zone there. So just make sure your local time zone is accurate here. The second thing we want to do is connect your calendar. So it is required to create a booking page, you have to have a calendar connected. Now I will explain further what a booking page is, but that is the only feature we have at the moment that has this co-hosting book on behalf capability. So you need to have your calendar connected. And if you try to create a booking page without connecting your calendar, it will prompt you to connect your calendar. Now, do know that connecting your calendar is completely secure. No one will be able to see the details of your calendar, why you're busy, any of that. The calendar connection is just required for Doodle to view your availability and offer when you are free. And that would be the same for your coworkers or whomever you are booking on behalf of, or whomever you are co-hosting a meeting with. So in this case, simply to connect your calendar, I'm going to disconnect mine so I can show you how quick and efficient it is to connect your calendar. I'm going to use a Google Calendar in this case, but the process looks almost identical for Outlook, Office 365, but we're Google users here at Doodle. So I'm going to use Google. I'm going to either put in my credentials, username or password, or click the account that I want to connect to Doodle, and then just allow Doodle access to this Google Calendar. In 2 clicks, and I'm done. That's how easy it is to connect your calendar to Doodle. Again, it is required to connect your calendar to use the host feature that we're going to be reviewing today. And so just also know that you're able to connect more than one calendar, maybe one Google, one Outlook, one iCloud, as long as you have those credentials, which is username and password. Multiple calendars can be connected. And then lastly, if you are living in a virtual world, like a lot of us are, and having virtual meetings, you can integrate a conferencing tool. Now, what this does is when individuals book that meeting, like if you remember when Terry booked that meeting, I'll go back to my calendar really quickly. Here is this Doodle final interview. Oopsies, cancel. You'll see that there is a unique Google Meet link already added to this meeting that I had created at the earlier stage of this session. And this is what happens when you integrate your conferencing tool to Doodle, whether it's Zoom or Team or WebEx. That process would look the same. You can see that Google Meet is not here, and that is simply because Google Meet is very intuitive and you don't need to manually connect it. Simply, if you have a Google Calendar connected to Doodle, Google Meet will present itself as a conferencing tool option, which I will show you where that is in the next step of this session. And you don't need to manually connect it. But if you use Zoom or Teams or WebEx, you will need to manually connect these. The process looks almost identical to connecting the calendar. Couple clicks and you are all set. And so in the use case though, if you remember when we're looking at this calendar invite, myself is invited, Lauren, my coworker, and then Terry, who was the client that booked. In the use case, when all three of us, when Lauren and myself are invited, it's going to pull my virtual conferencing tool. But when we do that book on behalf use case, which I will again show you thoroughly in this session, and I am not included in this meeting, I'm just creating something on behalf of, say, Lauren in this case, it will pull Lauren's conferencing tool. As long as Lauren has a conferencing tool connected to Doodle, in the book on behalf use case, it's going to pull that. If Lauren does not have a conferencing tool connected to Doodle, then no conferencing tool will be automatically added to the calendar invite. Again, I think it'll make a bit more sense when we're actually creating the booking page to show you guys. But those are the 3 things that I wanted to review of the account settings. Do we have any questions about connecting our calendars, why that's required, conferencing tools, any of that before we dive in and create this booking page using our host feature where we can offer collaborative availability or change it to a book on behalf situation? I'll keep my eye on the chat. I know it takes a couple minutes to type. And so I will come back to it if someone does ask questions. Well, keep an eye on there for you. Okay, so next, how do we create a booking page that uses this host feature? Now, as I mentioned, the host feature is only available to our team plans and our enterprise plans. And so as a free user or a pro seat user, you will not see this feature. This feature lives within our booking pages. So I'm going to go, I created this booking page for this session today. So I'm going to go and edit that. But you're also able to create a new one in this case. So please, you can create a new booking page here or create it here if you'd like as well. It takes you to the same page. But in this case, I am going to view what I've already typed here. Now, I'm going to use the use case today of a Doodle final interview. So what that, in this case, I have it could be one of two situations. This final interview could include myself and a coworker, or I'm setting this up for one of my coworkers. Now, this is the part here that only our team and enterprise users will see. If you're, again, a pro user or a free user, you won't see this. And this is where the host feature lives. So I'm going to hit edit, and you can see that when I highlight over, it says add another team member as a host to see these events. I'm going to hit edit. And what you see here is you see myself, and I'm actually going to remove Lauren so I can show you what this looks like. So when you're creating a new one, you will see yourself here, and then you will be able to type in the name of your coworkers that are underneath the same Doodle plan as you. So this is why you were required to have a team or enterprise plan, because Doodle only pulls the individuals that are in your same Doodle plan. So I see Lauren here, and I can add her. Now let's say I have a coworker named Ashley. I start searching Ashley's name. She does not show up because Ashley is not a part of this Doodle plan. She is my coworker. We collaborate, within our Slack channel and all of that. But you have to have a team or enterprise plan, so there are multiple members for you guys to collaborate with and do this service with. So as you can see, we have Lauren as an option here. I'm going to add Lauren. Now I'm also going to show you what it looks like. So Lauren, you can see, is showing here. There's no warning next to Lauren's name, but I want to show you that when I type in my coworker Nina's name, there is a little notice underneath that says availability unknown. So when I click this, it even highlights it more in red, and it lets me know that Nina's calendar is not connected to Doodle. There is an issue with this, right? We're not going to be able to read Nina's availability to make sure she's available for these meetings, and we're not going to be able to invite her. Nina has a Doodle account. She is underneath our same plan, but she needs to connect her calendar to Doodle in order for us to offer collaborative availability and or for me to book meetings on behalf of her. So just know that if you're seeing this, you would just inform your coworker, hey, please connect your calendar, and then it will look like Lauren in this case. So I'm going to do a meeting with just me and Lauren. Now, right now is perfect if I need to look at both my availability and Lauren's availability for this final interview. However, if I'm wanting to just schedule this final interview on behalf of Lauren, there is this toggle here where it says book on behalf. This page will remain yours, which means the booking page will remain mine, but I will not be invited to any booked events. If I check this here, that means that Doodle will not be reading my availability in my calendar to look for availability, but just Lauren's. And then when individuals book, in this case, Terry booked this meeting, right? If Terry were to book this meeting on behalf, that meeting would just include Lauren and Terry. I'm just setting this up on behalf of Lauren because maybe she's too busy, and I am also the individual that will be sharing these meeting links with the final interview candidates. So maybe I'm in HR or people ops or maybe just an assistant, and I need to create this for Lauren. So really all Lauren needs to do is make sure her calendar is connected to Doodle and a conferencing tool if they are meeting virtually, and you can use this book on behalf feature. Now I want to look at the polls really quickly to see everybody's perspective, scheduling on behalf of others. Okay, perfect. So in this case, I did show you what that calendar looks like initially if I was doing that collaborative availability. So myself, Lauren, Terry, my Google Meet link, right? But if I want to do a book on behalf, let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to do a book on behalf now so you can see what that calendar invite looks like in that process. But again, if this was unchecked and I completed the meeting here, it's going to look like this. My virtual conferencing tool, myself, Lauren, and Terry. All right, so let's do a book on behalf though. I'm going to hit done. And then you need to fill out the details of this booking page. What is the title? What type of meeting is this? You can customize the URL if you'd like, but do know while you're filling out the top, the URL will pre-populate. So this is a Doodle final interview. I'm setting this up on behalf of Lauren to then share with the candidates. I can add a description. This is completely optional if I'd like, but I did add, you will meet with our executive team during this final session. Lauren is on our executive team. We also have a location field here. Again, optional. I put conference room 101 because I know that Lauren will want to meet. She will be in the office. So she has a room already dedicated. So I put that conference room, but the candidate will join virtually. So I've enabled the video conferencing, and you can see I can disable that if I'd like. Say the candidate will be in person. You can also use like Google Maps to pre-populate the address if it's in a specific address. I have just the conference room in this case. If they're meeting in person, great. Type out that conference room or that space there. Again, optional. But when I enable video conferencing, you can see that I'm not able to select a tool. It says here, when book on behalf is selected, we'll use the first available video conferencing set by the other host, which in this case is just Lauren. So if Lauren has a conferencing tool connected, it's going to add Lauren's conferencing tool to the calendar invite. But I'm not able to choose my conferencing tool because we're using book on behalf here. I'm still keeping it on the chat. So if anything is confusing, guys, please ask any questions, but I'll keep it moving while we don't have any questions. Next here, we are going to be setting up the duration. How long are these meetings? How long is this final interview? It is 60 minutes. You're able to customize this. Say it's 90. You can change it to 90 or however you'd like. Let's say it's an hour for this final interview. Down here is where you're able to customize the date range. So what this means is how far, you can look at it in two different ways. I could do a custom date range, which means that I only want to host these final interviews for the month of August. So I could do August 3rd until August 31st. And that means that these final interview candidates only have the month of August to book these meetings. I could even make it shorter and say they only have the rest of this week and into next. And this is the custom date range for this final interview. Once the 11th passes, this URL for this booking page will no longer work. It's past the custom date range, but you can also do a rolling availability. In this case, I can say that I want to limit it to 1 week into the future. So I share this booking page link with all the candidates and say, please book a time that works best for you. And when they click and open that link, they will only be able to see the next week of availability because I chose 1 week. I could choose 2 weeks and they will see what is available in the next 2 weeks. And that is from when they open that URL. So do know that if they're out of town for a couple of days and they check it out next week, they will see 2 weeks into the future. So this is a rolling availability. So it really just depends on what type of meetings you guys are offering. If you're wanting to book on behalf of somebody and always just offer whenever they're available in the next 2 weeks, rolling is great. If you're wanting them to for sure pick a meeting the week of August, like say next week, or let's just do like the end of August. We're going to do the 28th through the 1st. And this is the only week they'll be able to book these interviews. Now, I mentioned connecting the calendar, right? And in this case, the reason that's important is that Doodle booking page is meant to never double book you. It's meant to be able to read your availability and look for empty slots in real time continuously. So as meetings are popping up on your calendar, or in this case, Lauren's calendar, Doodle will make sure the times are accurate that it's offering and you'll never be double booked. Whether it's me and Lauren together, it's going to be looking at both our availabilities together, or in this case, I'm booking on behalf of Lauren, it just looks at hers. Now here is what I call your working hours. So if you look at this right now, it's a standard Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So what this says here is that this is going to read Lauren's calendar because I'm booking on behalf of Lauren in this case. If I would have done both of us together, it would look at both of our calendars from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So it's only going to be offering appointments during this time and when we are available. So on our calendar, when we're free and when we're not busy. You can customize this. Say you know that these final interviews are definitely not ideal to have first thing Monday morning. And you're like, I will never want to have these first thing Monday morning. Lauren will never want to have these. Let's say that we change this to be maybe starting at like 10:30. So in that case, that means the first meeting Lauren could ever have for this final interview would be 10:30 on Monday mornings. Even if she's free at 9 a.m., Doodle will never offer that as an option for this final interview because I'm saying the working hours on Monday are 9:30 to 5. Now, another situation could be that I'm likely interviewing a candidate that has a full-time job. So maybe I should be more flexible. So let's say on Wednesdays, Lauren is available later and we can make this interview maybe until 7. I'll save this. And this means on Wednesdays that but we have their availability from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and individuals are able to book between that time as long as Lauren is available. You can customize all of these dates. You can enable the weekends if you'd like. Personally, not me. But in this case, if you need to enable the weekends for availability, feel free to do that. That's an option. And you're able to customize all the dates and times if you'd like. So I'll keep an eye on the chat. I know this section can get a little confusing because you're like, what am I setting these up? But the best way to think about this is, when am I allowing Doodle to read my calendar and, or in this case, Lauren's calendar? So I'm saying these are the situations I'm allowing this to happen. And then I'm going to scroll down and there's a couple power settings you guys can add. I love these power settings, so I always like to review it. It makes the booking page a lot more customizable. You're able to add booking intervals to your meetings. What is an interval? What does that mean? Basically, the best way I describe these is that these are time frames. So if I say 15-minute intervals, that means that I will offer appointments at 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock. If I do 5-minute intervals, then I'm offering these final interview times at 9, 9:05, 9:10, 9:15 in 5-minute intervals. So the nice thing about offering these intervals, it just opens up more time options. And so in that case, it's always going to be able to offer, more options, the smaller intervals you have. But if you prefer to being the same as the event duration, which is the default, we said it was an hour, which means all the appointments are going to be 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., etc. Let's see. Claudia had a question. Since the booking page is linked to your calendar, how soon is Doodle updated when something is scheduled in the Outlook calendar? Great question. The answer is immediately, Claudia. So there's obviously going to be an overlap of time. So let me give you a real-time example. Let's say that, Claudia, I work with you, or let's say this is the case. So Claudia, we work together. I share my booking page link with a client. That client has opened my booking page link, is looking at my appointments. While they have that open, you put an invite on my calendar. You invite me to this meeting. It's put on my calendar. Whether I RSVP yes or not, even pending, it's on my calendar. Doodle will not refresh that page. That option will still show as an option for that individual, that client. However, once they click it, Doodle will give them an alert like this time is no longer available, and it will take them back to the page and refresh it. So there is an overlap where a client might see an availability, or in this case, a candidate might see availability, but when they go to confirm that's the right time, Doodle will warn them and say, hey, actually, this is no longer available. So we always say that Doodle reads your calendar in real time. You will never be double booked with booking page. If something is double booked on your calendar, then there is something wrong. There is a bug. You have to be RSVP'd yes. Also, an RSVP of maybe, Doodle reads that as a yes, reads that as a busy. So an RSVP as no, but you can still see on your calendar, Doodle sees you as being free. But if it's a yes or a maybe, Doodle sees you're busy. We're not going to overlap that time and availability. So Doodle reads your calendar in real time to make sure you're never double booked. And that is the same case for host. So in this case, it's going to read Lauren's calendar in real time. Got to make sure that anything that we make available and we allow these candidates to book, Lauren is always available during those times. So I'll make this booking interval 30 minutes. I said that the meetings are 60 minutes. And so I like the idea of offering one at 9, one at 9:30, one at 10, one at 10:30. But this is totally optional. If you'd like to offer more times, just add more booking intervals. Now, we have this availability for you to add a buffer time. A buffer time is where you can add breaks into your day and your meetings you're offering for this interview. Which means that if I say I want a 15-minute break, buffer time in this case, Doodle will automatically look at my calendar and make sure that the next time offered from my meetings is 15 minutes away. So say I have something on my calendar at 10 a.m. The soonest meeting after that Doodle will offer for this will be 10:15. So it's basically saying Ryan needs to make sure she has 15 minutes between all of her meetings. And that's going to be reading your calendar, right? And the meetings that Doodle offers. So if you do enable buffer times, just know you're actually taking time options away from your candidates and your guests and your attendees, because I'm going to be baking in 15 minutes after every meeting that I have, which basically is saying I'm busy for 15 minutes after every meeting. It will make you give less available options. So personal preference, I would, if you do play with buffer times, you're able to preview your booking page and look at the options, and really you can see how it does limit what you're offering. I oftentimes don't offer buffer times. I'm client facing. I want to be more flexible and available. I don't offer buffer times, but personal preference. So play around with that if you're interested. And then we have the minimum advance notice. What this means is how soon can these candidates book these final interviews with Lauren? So it does say no minimum advance notice, which means if this candidate opens this booking page link, if you remember, we actually did a custom time frame. So we actually did that last week of August. So the minimum advance notice would not be as alarming in this case if there was no notice. The earliest they can book is that 28th, right? But if I did a rolling availability and I said, you can look at 2 weeks into my future, and there was no notice, that means that as soon as the candidate opens this link, Doodle is going to be offering your next available 60-minute availability. So you could get something on your calendar that's literally going to be in 5 minutes from now, which is personally for a final interview, not ideal. I want to prepare for that. And so when you're using this rolling availability, you're able to customize how soon they can book from when they open that link and book. I prefer 1 day. That means that I'll get a notification 1 day prior to the meeting saying, hey, you have this meeting in 24 hours, and then at least I can be prepared. But again, personal preference. If you only want an hour heads up, then you can do a minimum notice as an hour. But again, this only needs to relate when you're doing these rolling availability. So let's go back to do that last week of August. I like the idea of doing that. That's just more realistic for final interviews. So I'm going to do the last week of August again. And then the last part here is maximum bookings per day for this page. How many final interviews do I want to allow in 1 day? Say we have 5 final interview candidates, which is quite, it's not common to have that many in the final interview process, but let's say we have 5. If I leave this blank and say my Tuesday is completely flexible, I can have 5 final interviews in 1 day. If that's cool with you, fabulous, leave that blank. But for me, that's a lot of talking, and it's a lot of listening, and it's a lot of digesting. I can say that the max amount that I want of these final interviews is 2 in 1 day, which means once 2 final interviews are booked, that whole day will look quote unquote busy for the other candidates. They won't know what's blocked. They will just not see options on that day. Again, Doodle's going to make sure I'm available for all these times by reading my calendar. But this just limits your time and makes it so you're not overstretched, and you can commit to how many of these meetings that you particularly want in that day, or in this case for Lauren, how many final interviews can Lauren do in this day? You're able to, you don't need to worry about connected to calendar options here. Honestly, you completely disregard that. But you're able to remind your participants to enable about your meeting. So if I do enable this simply just sends my candidates an email 24 hours prior to the meeting, reminding them about that final meeting. The calendar invite is going to be on their calendar invitation. They'll likely get the automatic reminders that they already have set up within their Google or their Outlook calendar. But this is just an email to remind them, hey, you have a final interview meeting with Lauren tomorrow at this time. So it sends to them 24 hours prior. Now, lastly, we have these custom questions down here. Doodle is always going to ask for your candidates, in this case, email and name. And then I added that last one that you saw, which was best phone number to reach in case of technical issues. You can make these questions required, which means they have to give a response to this prior to booking the meeting, or you can make it optional. Feel free to ask whatever question is going to help you prepare for these meetings. You can really ask as many custom questions as you want. We always like to say don't add more than 3. It creates friction when individuals are booking. They might realize oh, this is taking too much. I'm not going to book. In the case of a final interview, they'll probably go through that process. But yeah, personal preference and whatever your topic is. I'm going to hit save. And then it takes me to my confirmation page. This is where I can look and I can preview my group poll if I want to. I can make sure this looks how I want it to look. Remember, I mentioned you can set up buffer times and you're able to preview it. So again, I won't kind of click there. I'm just hitting the preview button. It takes me to a preview screen of what my candidates will see when they're booking that meeting. You can see that meeting is with Lauren Blood. You can see the summary here at the Doodle final interview. And as you mentioned, I had mentioned, remember those intervals being 30-minute intervals. It is going to be an hour-long meeting, but we have 30-minute intervals here. So now we're looking at the times when Lauren is available. Now, if you remember, I said no meetings before 10:30 on Monday mornings. So you don't see anything before 10:30 on Monday morning. Let's go to the 29th, 9 a.m. is the option. And I think we said Wednesdays until later in the afternoon, the evening. There you go. We got a 5:30, a 6 o'clock. So these are all times that Lauren is available. Now, this is a great way for you to double check your work. Feel confident before you share these meeting links. Now, there's two ways for you to share this, this candidate meeting. You can email the invitation directly from Doodle. It gives you a little pop-up. You can paste in those emails. There's a little template, fabulous. This comes from a Doodle email address. So really, that could go to spam. People could ignore it. They could not know what it is. So we recommend you copying all of your links and then simply drafting an email like you would, or sending it via Slack, text message, however. In this case, I have a little drafted email. It says final interview. Hello, please book one of the times here for your final interview. You will receive a calendar invite shortly after scheduling your interview. I highlighted this here section. I'm going to paste in the link that I copied from Doodle, hit OK, and I will email this to my final interview candidates. Now, let's book one of these final interviews with Lauren. So again, if you remember, I had made it so it's just Lauren in this case and just Lauren's availability. So here we have the options. I did the full week of August, right? If I go over to September 1st, there are some Friday options here because I did the last week in August. So let's just do the 31st of August. And let's say we'll do 3 p.m. Well, let's say this is New York time. So let's say the candidate, let's say my name is William, and I'm based in New York. Lauren is based in Chicago. And so William is seeing these options as New York time. So William's going to choose at 3 p.m. New York time. So we'll say William candidate. William would give their email address, and then William is going to make sure that he gives that best phone number in case of technical difficulties, and then William's going to hit book it. From here, a couple things happen for William. William gets taken to the confirmation page. It's all booked. You are all good. As you can see, all William sees is Lauren's name. This is Ryan's account, but all William knows is that he booked with Lauren. It's Lauren that he's seeing, and that's the availability. So William gets his confirmation page. William will also get an email confirmation letting him know the day and time that he booked. And then additionally, Ryan will be getting notifications. So Ryan, I have the Doodle account, right? So I will be getting informed when these meetings happen. It is my Doodle account. I will be getting notifications. You can see that I get the notification that William Kennedy booked the meeting. It's at 2 Central Time. If you remember, William booked it at 3 New York time. It's at 2 Central Time. And then that summary of the best phone number if for the response to that custom question. Now I'm going to go to my calendar and go to 2 p.m. on August 31st. So let's go to August 31st, 2 p.m. I'm busy. I have a all hands from 1:30 to 2:30. There's nothing on my calendar. Now let's look at Lauren's calendar. I'm subscribed. I'm going to check and view her. As you can see, Lauren has a little, Lauren's in purple. That final interview is showing right there for Lauren. It's herself. She is the organizer. She has a Google Meet connected to Doodle. So that is her unique conferencing link right there in Doodle. Sorry, right there in this calendar invite. And then William Candidate is invited. There is also that response William had here, best phone number to reach you. And you're also able to have that summary for Lauren to quickly see if needed. So in this case, I set all of this up for Lauren. All she had to do was have her calendar connected to Doodle, create a Doodle account, be a part of my team, have her calendar connected to Doodle. And additionally, she went further and she connected her conferencing tool. So this is Lauren's unique Google Meet link. I don't even see it on my calendar. My availability was not considered. It doesn't even look like I was involved in this, besides possibly sharing the link with the group. You could also, in this case, copy the link, share it with Lauren. If you need Lauren to email the individual for that final interview, send Lauren a message. Hey, Lauren, here's the booking page link for that final interview. Share it with your candidates, and Lauren can share it from there. And you will be getting informed as your guests book, just because it is your booking page. But you're informed and you're able to keep up to date, and you're able to know maybe if she shared it, if individuals have booked it. And another thing that's really helpful is that your booking pages are always easily accessible on your dashboard. So here's that final interview link right there. I can always quickly grab that. I can always quickly edit it, disable the link. Maybe we found our candidate and we realized, oh no, we're not, we can't offer this role anymore. I can quickly disable the link. And that means that anyone that opens the link will get like a page that says this booking page has been disabled. Let's see. Annette said you're concerned about the booking confirmation message. Is it possible that only the organizer receives it and not the person with whom I booked the meeting? So I will say that the individual that books the meeting, which in this case is going to be the candidate, they will always get the confirmation email, but it will not look exactly the same as this. So it will not have like the answers, I believe, but they will always get an email saying like, this is the meeting time that you booked, to give them confirmation. Additionally, they will get the calendar invite, right? So if you remember, they're automatically already invited. They will be getting that to their inbox, seeing that they could change their RSVP if they wanted to. They are automatically RSVP to yes. But they will get that email confirmation, just letting them know, like, thanks for booking the meeting. Here's the time you booked, in addition to the calendar invite. If you could elaborate, Annette, like what the concern would be with them getting the notification after they booked, let me know. I can give that feedback of like what would be concerning, or why you think that in this case, the candidate or, the person that is booking the meeting shouldn't receive the notification, or if it's more concerned about, I'm just curious about what the concern is, more in a curiosity way. And so that is how you can use our host feature to, whether it's do a shared availability or do a book on behalf. Now, as you can see, this is something I like to highlight when you guys do this. This says 0 calendar sync, which is really just a cosmetic error. You can see this one says 1 calendar sync. It says 0 because myself, as the Doodle organizer, the person that owns this account, my calendar is not synced to this. I did a book on behalf. So it says 0. In the case, if you'll see, if I edit this really quickly and I change it where now I need to be in the meetings. Let's say I simply, Lauren's like, hey, I need you in the meetings as well. I would disable that book on behalf. I'd hit done. Now it's myself and Lauren. I hit save. And then I'll go back to my dashboard. Now it's going to be reading both of our availabilities. And then also you see we have that 1 calendar synced there, because it is looking at mine. It's really cosmetic. Don't be alarmed if it says 0 calendar sync. That's really representative of book on behalf type of collaboration. We are almost at time, but I want to make sure I answer any questions. So I will stay after for any questions. We have 1 minute left. Please ask any questions. For those of you that do need to pop off at the quarter hour mark, thank you for coming. This is recorded. If you have any questions about upgrading to a team plan or anything else, you can either reach out to our sales team, which is sales@doodle.com. This page, when I close this webinar, will automatically take you to our contact sales page, where you can reach out that way as well. Or you could simply just check out on our website if you are interested. But again, this is a team and an enterprise only feature because you have to have members in order to share a collective availability, right? You need to have team members to view and to add to your booking page. So that is why it is required. So I'll stick around again for the next couple minutes, see what comes in, but we are at time. For those of you that have to pop off, again, I appreciate everyone for joining. Hopefully you found this informational. But again, I'm gonna stick around for the next couple minutes to see whatever questions or concerns pop in, guys. Got it. Okay, Annette, I need to organize meetings on behalf of my boss, but I do not want her to receive confirmation messages. Okay, Annette, that is actually perfect. So in these cases, apologies, the confirmation email actually only comes to me. So this email where it says William candidate has booked a meeting, Lauren, remember Lauren is the individual that I'm booking on behalf of. Lauren does not get this email. Myself, as the organizer, is the only one that gets this email. The only thing Lauren gets is that calendar invite on her calendar. So in this case, your boss would not be notified as these meetings are booked. All your boss would be getting is the calendar invite on their calendar, and it will be there with the details that is needed. You, as the creator of the booking page, are going to be notified and get the email notifications. So just you, as well as in this case, what was the name of the guest? William. So William booked the meeting. William will get that because they are the guest, the person that is booking the meeting. They will get the notification saying, thanks for booking. Here's the time you booked. And then you as the creator, in my case, myself as the creator of this booking page, I get it. But Lauren, who I'm booking on behalf of, will never get a notification relating to this. It'll just be me and the individual booking, and Lauren just gets that calendar invite. Hopefully that clarifies for you. I understand why you would think that it would be concerning for your boss to get all these alerts, right? So that would be the case. You're so welcome. I'm glad to clarify that for you. Yeah, we don't want to spam your boss's email when they already have enough going on. So we make sure that you are informed so you can keep track of maybe the meeting and making sure that you do have people that are attending this interview, but your boss will simply just get the calendar invite right on their calendar. Perfect. Alrighty, well, if you don't have any other questions, I appreciate everyone for joining today. Again, you can check if you're interested, you can do a team 5. We have monthly plan now, so you can test a monthly plan if you're interested. You don't have to commit to a whole year. So you can test a team plan for a month. Or if you're even more interested and you want to do an annual and you want to reach out to our sales team and get more information on your use case, sales@doodle.com, or simply go to our contact sales on our website and you'll talk to my colleague Lauren, who you're seeing all over this. My colleague Lauren will end up being who you guys chat to. So I appreciate everyone for joining today. Thanks again so much. Everyone have a fabulous rest of your week and almost weekend, and have a good one. Thanks, guys.